Peace, and love, family. Today, by watching this video, you're going to learn how to fix your credit. That's right, fix it. It's really simple. I know we spend a lot of money giving to service providers to fix our credit, and we have no clue what they're doing, so therefore we can't even teach our children or teach anyone else how to do it. We just refer them to a company and pay them $99 to $200 a month and hope that they deliver on what they said they would, right? So I got my notes here, and I'm gonna break down from A to Z how to fix your credit, right? The intention of this video is not for you to fix your credit and buy a whole lot of stuff. That's not what this intention is. Our neighborhoods are messed up. We don't own barely anything in our own neighborhoods that we reside in, right? And we understand that this system that we live in, credit is king, right? So the East Indian comes over here, he comes with a loan from his own bank or gets an immigration loan from a bank here in America, right? He sets up shop in one of our neighborhoods, builds money, pays off that loan. It all came from having credit, all right? So the intention of this video is to teach you how to clean up your credit, establish great credit or good credit, right? So you can now get loans. And with those loans, whether it be credit card, whether it be getting a loan, a second mortgage on your home, credit is used for business, right? So imagine if you get a $1,000 credit card. What you want to do with that $1,000 credit card is have a product to sell. Usually credit card is capital to purchase your product. And then now you sell the items or whatever you purchase. And then now you have made money. You pay back your credit card and now you have made money. It came out of your pocket, zero, zilch, nothing, right? So if I had a $1,500 credit card, let's say Chase Manhattan gave me a $1,500 credit card. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a drop of a little jewel, right? So I was watching TV the other day and I noticed that they had these outside kind of like industrial type laser tags for sale. They were like $49.99 for two, right? So if you buy a set, 10 sets, that would be $500, right? $500, you get 20 guns. They shoot apparently up to like 20 feet or something like that, right? What I would do is post an advertisement on Craigslist, right? Saying, hey, you can rent from me, kind of like how people do those inflatable jumping things, right? And so they just rent from you, $50 for an hour and a half worth of service. So now I've taken the money that I've gotten from a credit card to purchase products that I have in turn renting out, right? I make $50 an hour off of that. Post it in on Facebook, post it in on Craigslist. Let your friends and family know. They're good for birthday parties, gatherings, whatnot. You'll be booked up for basically every weekend, right? What you don't want to do with the $1,500 credit card that you get from Chase Manhattan is go on a trip to Vegas. You cannot make any money off of going on a trip to Vegas. You just blew it. You do not want to go to JCPenney's, Kohl's, Macy's, and spend money in this system and get nothing in return but a feel-good sensation when you're at the checkout. That's not what this video is about. If that's what you're gonna wanna do with credit, if you're not disciplined enough to make money from credit, stop the video right now. Don't watch no more because this is not for you. I'm not talking to you at all right? So let's talk about how you got here. There's a great chance that you got here because your credit's messed up because of hospital bills, or while you were in college, you got some credit cards. Lord knows in our community, our family members, our elders, and when we were young, there's a great possibility that they used your credit and jacked up and didn't pay a bill, put something in your name. So now you got things that you didn't even have, right? And then obviously mismanagement of our economic funds, right? All of those issues can be taken off your credit report easily, right? All right. I'm gonna go into the history of the credit bureaus. If you don't know, pull out your phone, check on Google, and put in Experian New York Stock Exchange, right? And how much a stock of Experian is. TransUnion and Equifax. Those are the three major credit bureaus. Those are all publicly traded companies, which means they're in business to make money. They're not in business to help you out. They're in business to make money. We give them all the information that they have, right? So you give out, you're letting creditors know, right? Your electric company, what your name, your address, your social security number is. They in return give that information to one of or all three of the credit bureaus, right? And each time that they holler at the credit bureaus, the credit bureaus get paid. So that's how it works. So again, you give your information, you're trying to get a cell phone, you give it to Verizon. Verizon says, hey, we're gonna check your credit real quick. When they check your credit from the information you give, it links to a database of the credit bureaus, one of the three. Sometimes, depending on what creditor it is, typically they use one of the three, but sometimes they report to two or three of them. So it just really just depends, right? So Verizon checks with Experian to check your credit. Boom, they pull the credit. Now, Verizon owes Experian or Equifax or TransUnion a fee for them delivering that information, right? The credit bureaus also get paid every time there's an error on your credit report. That's right, every time there's an error on your credit report, Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax charges the creditor. If they messed up something, they charge them anywhere from 50 cents to $1 every time that they have something they have to delete off of your credit report. All right. We have something on our side, right? The Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right, I'm just going to read this real quick. Is the U.S. federal government legislation enacted to promote accuracy, fairness, and privacy of consumer information contained in files of consumer reporting agencies. So with that law on our side, we basically, if anything's not fair, anything that's not accurate, we can get it taken off, right? All right. So I'm gonna drop down a couple of credit myths. I'm just giving you a little background information to kind of level it out for you to understand. Because sometimes when we get to talking about credit, it really goes over our head because this is not something that we're taught in school, right? You can go to college. They're not teaching this in economic class. This is something that we're really ignorant about because it's not something that we talk about. So I'm just hitting some basic information before I teach you the really basic information on how to get things off your credit report. All right. So one of the myths that there is about your credit is if you check your credit, your score will go down. That is completely false. Checking your own credit is counted only as a soft inquiry and doesn't harm your credit at all. Only hard inquiries, the ones made from a creditor or a lender when you apply for credit, can bring down your score a few points. So once a year, you can get a free credit report from all three agencies. All you have to do is go to annual free credit. Hold on, let me make sure that's right. Now, annualcreditreport.com, right? Once a year, you're allowed to get a free credit report. So you just go into there, boom, boom, and they give it to you. You also can get another free credit report anytime you apply for credit and you're denied. You know, you get those denied letters. You're at Target, they say, hey, do you want to save 20% off if you want to sign up for one of our cards today? You're like, yeah, boom, you get the 20% off. And then because you got bad credit, in a week you get home and there's a daggone a letter in the mail from Target saying you've been denied. Well, in that denial letter, it says what you can do to get a free credit report. So you basically can get a free credit report all the time, right? All right, so another myth is that once I pay off a negative record, it will be removed from my credit report. False. It will not be, right? So, boom, you got a Comcast bill or a Verizon bill. You didn't pay it off. They sell it to a collection agency. Collection agency is calling you, bugging you. You finally say, you know what, I'm gonna pay them to try to get it off on your credit. It will not get off, right? Unless you have negotiated that in that price. So if you owe them $200 and you say, hey, I'll pay you guys the $200, but I need in writing that you guys are going to stop reporting this and get this off my credit report. Once you get that in writing and then you pay it, right? Then now you have some background, but they still might not even take it off. They still might report it, and then you still have to do some background work to make sure that it gets off. But it doesn't guarantee that, right? Even if it's paid. Another myth is closing old accounts will improve my credit score. A lot of people advocate closing old and inactive accounts as a way for improving your credit. It may in cases actually lower your credit, right? So when it's an old account, that's showing old credit history. That's showing a longevity with your credit that's been used. You don't want to just knock those off. Leave that. Pay it off and just leave it open, right? Even if you only use it one time a month to put gas in your car, right? It makes it seem like you're utilizing your credit and you have a long history of credit. So you want to keep those open. Do not close those, right? Let's talk about hospital bills, right? If you don't know, it's a violation for a hospital to share any of your information with anybody else. It's called a HIPAA law, HIPPA. Look it up, Google it. I'm not lying. So basically what I'm saying is if a hospital shares your information with a collection agency, that collection agency can't get a dime from you. You should not give them anything. They weren't allowed to have the information by law anyway, all right? So with that being said, let's talk about collection agency, because that's the biggest thing, right? So I'm gonna break down how they work, why they work, how they're in business, and their point of being in business, right? So this is how a collection agency gets their accounts. I'm gonna use a hospital as an example, right? So you go to a hospital, you have an emergency, a urinary tract infection, right? And boom, they hit you with a $300 ER bill. Boom, it comes to your house. Well, in about 120 days, if you ain't paid it, they're gonna get that off their books. They're gonna take that $300 that they were billing you and they're gonna sell it to a collection agency for literally pennies on the dollar. The collection agency, let's say, will buy it for $30, right? They buy this new account for $30 with the intention on getting at least the $300 out of you. So in that case, they would make $270. That's how collection agency works. A lot of times you'll check your credit and you'll say, boom, I owe the hospital $300. It'll say charged off, which means that they're getting it off of their books. They're not claiming that as profit for their records, right? They sell it to a collection agency, and the collection agency is trying to hit you for $450. They got it on your report, or they've been sending you mail saying that they want to collect $450 from you. You do not owe them $450. Again, if it's a hospital, you don't even owe them the $300, right? So that's what they're in business for, right? That's how they make their money. Another thing with collection agencies, they have to show proof that you owe the debt, right? So imagine that same hospital sells it for $30 to a collection agency. Did they give them all the paperwork? Everything that verifies that was you that owned the debt? We're going to get off of hospitals because that's null and void anyway, because they're not allowed to share that information because of HIPAA laws. Let's use a Verizon bill, right? Old cell phone bill. Right? They sell that information to the collection agency. Verizon is supposed to give them all the paperwork that shows that it's your debt, your name attached, your social security, everything that verifies that it's you in that packet. Now, the collection agency should have all that information when they report it to the credit bureaus. 95% of the time, they do not have that information. They're hoping that you don't know this information that I'm giving you. Make them prove that is your debt. You understand me? Make them prove without a shadow of a doubt that was yours, and not just because they have your name. That's not good enough. All right? Show me signatures that is my debt. If they cannot do that, that's a lack of paperwork on their part. You're not held responsible for that debt, all right? You're not obligated to communicate with any collection agency, right? But what I don't want you to do is run from them. The first time they call, holler at them. In 30 days after you've explained to them right? So let me slow down. There's two ways to handle this. I want you to respond to collection agencies the very first time they hit you up. If they send you a letter in the mail, I want you to send them a letter right back. Certified mail, okay? Certified mail to them stating, you do not believe that this is your debt and you need proof that it is. They're supposed to send you mail back showing you the proof that is your debt. Now, what they're doing is showing their hand, right? If they don't send it to you within 30 days, guess what? That's null and void. You take that certified letter and I'm gonna show you what to do with that later on how to fix your credit, right? But let's say they do send it to you. They're showing you everything they have about you. They're showing that how they gonna prove to the credit bureaus that that's your debt. Well, if they ain't got names, signatures, agreements about that debt from the previous creditor, then obviously they don't have anything on you. So that's an easy one to beat. Again, this is really easy. It's all about paperwork. You just have to be tedious with it, right? So boom, I hit you with that. You can also ask the collection agency to give you the name and address of the original creditor, right? Just in case you do want to pay off that debt, right? Because you rightfully owe it and you want to pay it off. Don't give it to the collection agency. Go straight to the source, right? If you do make this request in writing within 30 days, the debt collector, which is the collection agency, has to stop all debt collection activities until the debt collector provides you that information. Basically, the collection agency can't holler at you no more until you find out that Verizon then sent you a letter back. Until they find out Verizon didn't got with you about that debt that you owe them, right? All right. You do not, I repeat, you do not have to disclose any personal information during this product. There's a law mandating the disclosure of There's a law mandating the disclosure of identifying information such as your social security number and your date of birth to debt collectors. They may insist that it's required to verify the debt, but it's not. So basically, in essence, what this is saying, by law, the collection agency will say, hey, I need some information from you so we can make sure that it's yours. They are fishing for information and you're giving it right to them. Don't give them anything. They don't have to have that. They're the ones that need to prove that that's your debt. You ain't got to prove nothing, all right? All right, we're gonna get to this last little part, man. This is really easy, and I'm gonna explain to you how to fix your credit. I'm giving you all the background information, and I'm gonna give you a quick little step process, right? First and foremost, what you wanna do is order your free credit report from all three major bureaus at annualcreditreport.com. Really simple, boom. Once you get it online, print out each report, right? Or save it to your computer, right? Save it to your computer so that you can do step by step what I'm about to ask you to do. It's very simple. The very first thing I need you to understand, the very first thing is I need you to understand what an affidavit is. I know that sounds like a big word and it sounds super law and like, whoa, this is too much, I can't handle it. It's very simple. You technically can write an affidavit on a napkin. It's that simple, right? I'm gonna give you the definition of an affidavit. An affidavit is a written statement confirmed by oath or affirmation for use in evidence in court. An affidavit is nothing but you writing down a statement and getting a notary, right, to stamp their seal on it, excuse me. I use UPS store. You go in there, boom, man, $5, they'll stamp it on there. All they want to do is see your driver's license to make sure the information on the piece of paper that you're going to give them, that they're going to stamp and seal, is correct. That's you. And now that is a law-binding article, right? Because a notary public is an officer of the state. You understand? So now you have a state officer signing and stating that what you said is in fact true. So everything that you're going to do with the credit bureaus is with an affidavit. Again, an affidavit is only you getting something notarized, writing down a statement and getting it notarized. In your statement, you want to write and basically tell the credit bureaus what you want them to do. Boom. Hey, this is not my debt. I'm not aware of this debt. I don't own this debt. I need you to remove it from my credit report. Boom. Take it to the notary public. Have them put their seal on it. Now you have an affidavit. You're going to mail that to the credit bureaus, right? So let's go back to that Verizon bill. Verizon says that you owe $300 to them, right? Let's say it's on two of your credit reports. Let's say it's not on TransUnion, but it's on Equifax and what was the other one? Equifax, and Experian, right? So it's on Equifax and Experian. What you want to do is write the same letter twice and send it to the credit bureaus, Equifax and TransUnion, certified mail. So it's an affidavit that you're sending certified mail to the credit reporting agencies. Certified mail is going to give you a receipt of it being accepted. So now for legal purposes, if you ever decide to take them to court, which you would never have to, right? They deal with 60 million articles or statements, disputes a day. They're not taking any one person to court, right? So you keep your little file, boom. And in 30 days from that dispute, of them receiving that dispute, they have to come up with a decision. Either that they say that it is yours because the facts show that it is yours, or that it is not yours and they're removing it from your credit report. 30 days. So basically in 60 days, you can have this all done, wiped up, finished, right? The first thing you want to do though, after you get your credit report, is you want to write a letter to the credit bureaus and ask them to remove all your old addresses and saying they're not yours. If it's not yours, then it's not yours. Get it off of there. An address, all these things that we're giving them are linking them to us. They need to know your current address and the addresses you've had for the last, anything that you haven't been stayed at for 2 years, right? If it's over 2 years and you're moving every 6 months, every year, it does look bad on your credit report, like you're not stable. Same thing with your old jobs. You want to get those off of there as well. So the first thing you want to do is get your old addresses and your old jobs off. Those are not my employers. That is inaccurate information. Get it signed, get it notarized, boom, send that off to the credit bureaus. Get that off. So now you're shortening up your credit, right? Your credit report. All right. Again, keep all your affidavits sent and keep up with your dates. Biggest tip that I would give you when it comes to these dispute letters: do not use a typed up version. Do not type it out and just hit print and make 3 copies. And here's the reason why. Google this, do your research. Don't take my word on it if you don't want to. But being that I just told you that the credit bureaus get 60 million on average disputes a day, right? You know they're not doing that by hand. To expedite your stuff getting done, you want someone to visit, to actually look at it. I know in our head, that's what we think of the credit bureaus, is a whole bunch of people in shirt and ties in the office and they're looking at our letters. That's not how it works. What they do, they have this system called e-Oscar. And all it is a scanner, right? So they get all these letters, and don't do this crap online with your free credit report. Do not do it online, because it's no different than sending a letter in that was typed up. e-Oscar will scan your information, and depending on what's in your statement, if it's related to things that they've already seen before, all they do is the scanning system assigns it a number. So it gets answered, disputed by a machine. This is not what you want. You want your stuff to by a physical person, some human being, to read your letter and say, this sounds messed up. All right, they ain't got the facts. You don't want a computer system automated. We all deal with computers, software all the time. How many times have you tried to load up an app and it accidentally it crashes on its own, right? We don't want to deal with it. We want someone physically reading our letters. So write it by hand. Yes, old school, right? This is what I did with mine. I got a 16-year-old daughter, right? I paid her $3 for every statement that she wrote out for me. So for example, the Verizon, I keep using Verizon because I had that happen to me before. That was one I had to get off, right? So it was on 2 of my credit reports. It wasn't on the 3rd. I paid her, it was $3 to write that report 2 times. So I ended up paying her $6. So $3 for each statement. $6. Boom. I still got to do all the other things I got to do: cook, do dishes, laundry, all that stuff, go to work, right? And I had my daughter making a few dollars for doing that for me, right? Boom. Really easy. Now the biggest issue with people, what do I put in my dispute letters, right? Well, what should I put? Because there are different things for, I want this removed, I want that removed, and being that you might not be fluent with everything I've spilled out, right? I actually have compiled a file of about 21 dispute letters that you can go ahead and copy and write out. If you click the link below, I'll shoot those to you via email. I do have to pay bills, so it is $10, but from one brother to the family, I think it's very well worth it to get your credit up, especially when you have credit agencies, credit repair agencies that'll charge you $100 to $200 a month to get this done. You can do this yourself in 60 days, have your credit back up. That's what it is. I'm giving you the tips from A to Z on how to repair your credit yourself. Learn how to do it. Teach your kids. This is knowledge that we have to teach each other, right? Teach your family members once you know, right? Share this information, and that's what it is. Peace and love, family. Until the next time.